Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an appropriate amount of soup. My name is Shannon. With me, as always, the unflappable Dom. The only podcast where you will hear us talk about the novels that we're writing, novels that we're reading, dumb ideas we have about other people's novels. And hey, Dom, apart from Robin Hobb books, which we talk about all the time, what are some of the books that you just downright enjoy?
So we can't talk about Robin Hobb.
No hobbing. No, it's a hob-free zone. We do that too often.
I right now, embarrassingly, reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I feel like I've gone mainstream, and I don't love that, but it's actually amazing. It's actually one of the funnest reads I've ever had. So yeah, I would rate that very much. And I like to dabble in a bit of I'm a dabbler in what's his name? Is it Jim Butcher? The Dresden Files?
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's his name, but I know the book.
Yeah, I like. I'm pretty lowbrow when it comes to it. I've tried to read the classics. Every so often I force myself to read what I think is a book I should read, and I generally hate it. I don't like Lord of the Rings. There, I said it. It's public.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I just don't think it's very good.
There's so much walking.
Yeah, I know. And there's there's some really good aspects to it, but the problem is by the time I read Lord of the Rings, I was like mid to late 20s, and I'd read such a wide variety of fantasy that absolutely sits on a foundation of Tolkien. But I liked better. And I read Tolkien. It's like the difference between, it's like getting a Model T Ford after you've been driving modern cars for a long time. Like, I get it. It's cool. I just prefer to drive my Volkswagen.
Right. So just not enough Tom Bombadil in it for you.
Well, the other problem, and the reason I've only ever watched the movies once, is there's no Tom Bombadil, and he's probably my favourite bit of it.
Just wait. Are we still being sarcastic, or
everything I've said for the last few minutes, I've absolutely meant. I like Tom Bombadil. I thought he was a cool character, and I like that he's in it so briefly that you can't actually work out if he's important or not. It was just like, to me, it seemed like Tolkien's like going, "Oh well, I've got a mate called Tom who's interesting. I'm going to put him in my book." That's it. Boom.
I feel like you've taken the complete opposite stance to everyone else on Tolkien.
Yeah, like that Tolkien is glorious and Tom Bombadil sucks.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'd stand by it.
Yeah, well, hey, at least you're a man of principle. You likes what you likes. And, you don't like constant walking here and there and everywhere.
Man, I get my steps in every day, and that's plenty. And their amount of walking, dumb.
Oh well, yeah, it's got to be done. Yeah, you gotta go places in life.
Look, I've heard that the secret of being of going viral is to be controversial. So that's my hot take, as the kids would say.
Yeah, and speaking of that actually leads us to our second segment today. Dom, which ethnicity is your least favorite and why?
White males.
Don't answer.
I did.
Hey, safe answer.
Safe answer. Most of the pain in my life has been caused by white males. So I guess I like them the least. Yeah.
Oh, well. That's, let's not joke around that edge anymore. I'll just talk about things that I like.
Yeah. So what books do you like? What do you like to read when you're not trying to be clever, when you're not trying to tick a box, and you just want to read a fun book? What do you read that isn't Robin Hobb? And I know that's hard.
And Pratchett's my boy as well. And
I love Adams. A bit of Terry. Okay,
I like a giggle while I read.
What's your favourite Pratchett character?
Who is my favourite? I do like the Death books. Death is fun.
Death is fantastic. It's true. But I didn't say what books. I said what character.
Well, Death in the books.
And
just the way that he appears they'll set up a summoning circle and then he'll just come through the door behind them. Those sort of jokes. I love that.
Yeah.
And then
what's the name? Is it Alfred? What was the name of Death's butler? He was a great character.
What is his name?
And then like 4 or 5 books in, you find out he's like the most powerful wizard who ever lived. And he comes back and he's really angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry.
sense.
Spoiler alert.
It's the same with Batman, isn't it? The butler is more powerful?
Well, eventually when they made a whole TV series, didn't they, to tell you that? But I don't know how I feel about it.
Did they do... I was just going with the memes. Was there a TV series?
Yeah, Pennyworth.
About,
I think that's what it's called, Pennyworth, which is about, Alfred, the butler, and the fact that he's like ex-SAS, ex-Navy SEAL, ex-ninja, who just decided to become a butler for a really rich family.
Well, good for him, hey?
Yeah. I hope they paid him well.
Yeah. Speaking of people that I hope get paid well, our author submission for this week is from a fellow named JP Clark. He also, just a little behind the scenes, the name on his email, which I absolutely adored, was The Ghost of Vern Gagne. Talking to Dom before recording, he had no idea who Vern Gagne is. As a wrestling nerd, I can tell you that he created the AWA in like the 60s and 70s, I believe it was. He was the NWA champion before that. Big deal in the territory days of wrestling before like WWF and WCW took over.
This is an American wrestling thing.
American wrestling, yeah.
Wow.
So that got a pop from me. So thank you, JP Clark. That I did enjoy that. And so I had a look up on Amazon and wherever I can't remember which website I was on to try and find his author bio to share, as we usually talk about the author bios. And I went, no, I'm not going to do that. He had a little 2-sentence bio. No, I'm just going to read out the email that he sent to us because I thought that was much better. Which started with, "Greetings and thank you for your consideration. I offer you this, the first chapter of Shadow of the White Salamander, my most ambitious work to date. It's a sequel, but honestly, you don't got to know nothing about the first one. Writing tip, if you're doing the whole sequel thing, make sure you write a fun, stupid adventure, then follow it up with a dark, introspective one. Tonal whiplash, that's what puts butts on seats. Anyway, I'm JP Clark. I live in the Intermountain West in America at the edge of the high desert, the northwestern frontier of the Mormon Corridor. I work in forestry and enjoy sitting on the couch and watching TV. And you can buy my books, The Americana Cycle, here, which we will put up in the links. But I love that. I love the way that this guy writes. He's got a really interesting voice.
What I didn't actually read that bio, truth be told, but we actually might be close to each other because I also live on the edge of the high desert. But I think I'm not on the Mormon Corridor side. I'm on the other side. But I'm also in the Intermountain side. Huh. Interesting. I actually like reading this chapter. It made me think of people I've seen at gas stations. Like,
okay.
I really thought very quickly that I could identify, like, in a lineup, the guy that, the voice. It was really good.
Yeah, it definitely has its own unique sound, and I did really enjoy it. So let's go into this first chapter and see what happens. We start off with a quote. "You don't know this territory. Let me tell you something. You can't scare a brave man, and you can't con a carny. You dig? From Denim Bill Hagen, 2 times High Desert Deathmatch champion." I don't know, now, as a wrestling nerd, I don't know that name. I'm assuming this is a fictional wrestler for the world of this novel, but prove me wrong, people that know better.
Yeah, I'm looking it up because I'm curious. Like, I don't even know if there is High Desert Deathmatch wrestling.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. If it is a thing, it's not a well-known thing.
No, doesn't look like it.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Well, there was someone called Big Will Hagen who was a wrestler.
But not Denim Bill Hagen.
No.
Let's spend a long time on this and just go back and forth about, what did you say, Big Will Hagen?
Yeah.
you want to just talk about that instead?
Oh, wow. Do you know what I just discovered?
Tell me.
Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins owns the National Wrestling Alliance.
He does, yes.
Yeah.
They have a show called Power. It's okay.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It's on something called Comet TV. Is that something you guys get in America?
No. Well,
We don't get it here in Australia.
I don't know, dude. I am as interested in wrestling as I am in few things.
Yeah, well, I don't much care for wrestling myself.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole bunch of obscure facts to share.
No.
Anyway, our narrator is waiting around after closing time at a Best Buy. He's having a cigarette. Hey, Dom, what's a Best Buy for
It's
us
an
Aussies?
electronics store. Like Dick Smith. Are they still around, Dick
No,
Smith?
they shut down.
Oh,
Like a JB Hi-Fi?
Like a JB Hi-Fi, but, well, I don't know. I haven't been to JB Hi-Fi since CDs stopped being a thing. So, but I imagine it's quite similar. It's where you go for your computers and your Geegors and your WizGigs.
Okay. All of your whiz gigs.
Mm.
And our narrator sees a young man coming out of said Best Buy. He acknowledges that this is not his man. So you get the impression that he's staking the place out, waiting for someone. Voices are heard from around the dumpster. A shabby-looking man is speaking to the young man from Best Buy. Our narrator can't hear what is said, but the conversation looks unpleasant. Then we hear the young man threaten to call the cops, and he tries to get back into the building. The shabby man lunges. He picks up the young man under his arm and walks off. The young man is calling out for help, and our narrator tells us that he lives by a code. If somebody asks for something, it means you got to do it, unless you forget. Which, fantastic.
Mm.
Our narrator drives his truck in front of the pair to stop their escape and threatens the shabby man with a gun. The shabby guy doesn't react to threats from the narrator. The narrator kicks the shabby man hard in the back of the leg. There is no reaction from the shabby man. The narrator says that it was like kicking a tree. The young man keeps calling out for help. He says the shabby man is crushing him. The narrator shoots the shabby man. The bullet ricochets off.
Ding!
Oh no, bad times are being had. The narrator jumps onto the shabby man's back to wrestle the young man free. The shabby man, apparently his skin, it feels cold and smooth, and you get the sense that it's something unnatural. The shabby man is unfazed by this attack. He breaks both of the young man's legs and throws him down a manhole, then swats our narrator off his back effortlessly. Now, I wrote there that he breaks his legs. Is that the impression that you got, Dom? I initially thought he was trying to pull his feet off.
It was ambiguous. I couldn't work out if if he snapped his legs, was trying to pull off his feet, or was just trying to sort of get him in a position he could drive him face first into a sewer. So, I don't know. Definitely got the impression it wasn't being gentle.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant, whatever happened to that man's legs, and he is probably quite injured. Our narrator pursues down the manhole despite the darkness and this looming monstrosity out that he can't see anymore. Or does he? No, he can't bring himself to follow. So once he gets down there, he freaks out and climbs back up.
So maybe you can help me with this. Because he gets in there and it's really dark. I thought he'd grabbed a mag light, which is a torch, as we'd say in Australia. Yeah. Don't say torch in America to refer to a flashlight. People will laugh at you.
Do they think like old-timey torch?
Exactly. That's exactly what they think. And they think you're suggesting that we bring a fiery brand with us.
Not against that.
Yeah, but then he goes, oh, it's too dark, I have to go back. And I was like, well, maybe turn on your flashlight.
Yeah, but even if you've got a flashlight going into a sewer system with no other light, you're only going to be able to see, depends how luminescent that flashlight is.
Look, as far as if it's about courage, I wouldn't have been involved at all. I would have driven off a long time ago. So definitely old main character is a lot braver than me.
Yeah, me too. Although he does what I probably would have started with after he gets out of the sewers, and he calls the police. And he relays the events to them once they get there. There are hints from the police conversation that this is not the first time that they've encountered this scenario, either with this individual or with others similar.
Well, I believe one of the police is heard in the background saying, "This time there was a witness."
Yes.
Which definitely indicates
something's going on.
Yeah.
The police say the narrator is free to go, so obviously something suspicious because they know that he fired multiple rounds, and they're just like, "No, you're cool.
Yeah,
we're going to keep the gun and do a ballistics test." But apart from that, see you later. And then our narrator finishes this chapter by saying, "Sorry, pal, I tried." And that's where we are left. So, Dom, after these events, what happens next?
What happens is our main character gets in his pickup truck, because of course it's a pickup truck, which of course has a gun rack on it.
Oh, hey, Dom.
Yeah.
Just before you continue, we didn't explain the premise of this show. This is not what actually happens next.
What?
So Dom's just going to make it up from here.
Oh, I actually read the rest of the book this afternoon and I was going to tell you what happened. But okay, I can make something up. No, he gets in his pickup truck. Because he seems like that kind of guy. He really does. Did you, just so we can, and we've never done this before, this is a new thing I'm going to try and introduce. Is
there a jingle for this segment?
Yeah, this is called Let's Set Some Stuff First.
Let's set some stuff first. This is the jingle. Yes, this is AI. Shannon didn't want to write and record a whole song for this one bad joke.
So, how old do you reckon the guy is?
40?
40. So you'd say 40. I was thinking like 60.
Okay, I'm happy with 60.
Or even maybe a little older, because I get the impression he's a veteran. And I like to think he's like a Vietnam veteran, but that would make him closer to 80. So maybe not.
He was still spry enough to attempt jumping on the guy's back.
Yeah, but he failed at it dismally. So, and my father-in-law's pretty spry. He'd give it a go. Except he's a dirty hippie and would never have a Russian gun. But okay. So anyway, he gets in his pickup truck and he drives to the most logical place, which is like a janky roadside bar. Because this book is just Americana to me. So he goes... It's
part of the Americana trilogy. So
exactly. Yeah. So he goes... Well, on the way, he stops at the Americana food truck, which is a food truck in the city I live in, which has the best burgers I've ever had. So he gets a burger. He scoffs that down. Shout out to Americana. Love your work.
And you know what album he's got on in the car, right?
Americana by...
The Offspring.
The Offspring. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe some 16 horsepower or, a bit of Americana play. And he goes to the bar and he goes in. And, of course, as he gets to the bar, there's a bartender called Lurleen. Or
Uncle Sam.
Oh, no, this is the female bartender. Obviously, the other bartender
Auntie Sam.
Is Sam, that everyone affectionately calls Uncle Sam. And gets a whiskey, because that's what tough men with leathery skin who've just wrestled something bizarre get.
Tennessee whiskey?
Yeah, of course. None of this foreign crap. He has his whiskey and Lurleen's like, whoa. Brad. Is he Brad or Chad? He's Brad. Brad, you're white as a sheet. What happened? And, of course, instead of answering the question, we go on a big bit of exposition where Brad is reminded by Lurleen of his lost love, Jasmine. And he talks a bit about her. So, we just get a bit of background about Brad Chad. And then the next chapter starts.
Okay, is that my chapter?
Yeah, that's your chapter. I got nothing. Sorry.
You need to be more explicit.
Okay.
All right,
and
so
over to you.
You've had him. He goes to a bar.
Yep.
That is everything that's happened in your chapter, is it?
No. He's reminisced about Jasmine. Jazzy Jeff is the love of his life. Because that's going to be important later.
Yeah. DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah. Danielle Jane Jasmine Jeffries.
Great. Fantastic. And what he discloses in his reminiscing time, his reminiscence, if you will, is that this isn't the first time that he has encountered something like this, because this book is a sequel. So something happened. We haven't read the first book, so we have to make some assumptions here.
Yep.
That do we want these? Do we want robots? Do we want aliens?
See, this is okay. So this is where I was when I read this, and I knew that we were going to do this. Is I'm like, yeah, is it Stranger Things? Is it the Terminator, or is it Alien? Like, it's one of those tropes, and I'm glad you get to decide, because I was like, I actually want robot alien space monkeys.
All right, so we're just going to combine them, and it's
Okay.
going to be a mutated extraterrestrial robot. And he has dealt with these things before, but last time in the previous book, they were only 6 to 8 inches tall, and he was just able to step on them. So this time around,
They've grown, Lurleen. They've grown a whole lot.
Yeah, so they've mutated and they've gained 6 to 7 feet. I think it was it? Let's say the guy's tall. I don't think it explicitly says otherwise, so I can add that in. And yeah, so it's like, what do I do now? I can't crush these little things anymore. And how many of them are there? And why are they now kidnapping people and going down into the sewer network? And the questions sort of become, well, in the previous episode, I was able to get on a rocket ship, fly to the moon, battle with the aliens, and destroy their communication ray. And that's not an option anymore, because that's done. So someone has obviously taken over this network somehow, likely someone on Earth. But where am I going to go to try and get that information? Where's the first place I can go? Now that I've had some good old Tennessee whiskey and I got a bit of fire in the belly, where can I go? I know. Those police officers, those cops, they were talking about, they knew something. They knew something. So I'm going to go and I'm going to find out what is going on. So he gets back into the car, puts the offspring back on. Nice, loud, Kids Aren't All Right. Is that the name of the... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I can't remember what's on that album. And then just races to the police station. He kicks in the door. And Dom, what does he do as soon as he gets there?
Gets arrested for kicking in the door.
You just can't do it, Dom. You can't kick police station doors.
I don't like it at all, especially
vandalism.
Actually, he gets shot 98 times.
The end.
The end. Good story. No, he kicks in the door, and he is not, like, this town that they're in is not small enough that he knows Cletus, the sheriff. Because earlier when he met the police, one of the policemen said, "Do I know you?" And he said, "I hope not," or "You shouldn't," or words to that effect. So he's not on speaking terms with the cops, but he's a man on a mission, because, yeah, he knows possibly things that they don't know because of his experience with the little tiny robots that were stompable.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly he doesn't know what's going on now, and he doesn't know how long they've been around. So he doesn't actually kick in the door. He knocks on the door, goes in. Well, I don't think you have to knock on the door of a police station. You just kind of wander in. And there's always like a slightly overweight sergeant at the desk who goes, "How can I help you?" And he says, "I was the witness to the event today." And the sheriff and the sergeant's like, "What do you mean, the event?" And he's like, "The event." Winks. I just winked. It's a podcast. You couldn't have seen that. And the sergeant's like, "Oh," and scurries off or calls someone, and eventually a detective comes out in trainers and jeans and a bomber jacket, because that was actually described that he's disgusted that detectives don't wear suits anymore.
What's he training for?
Tennis, clearly.
Oh, okay.
And I know this because they're also called tennis shoes here.
Uh-huh.
See, this is what I'm learning. So everyone's training to play tennis. And the detective is annoyed because he was actually about to go to tennis practice. But now he has to deal with crazy Brad Chad.
It was Brad Chad.
And he's like, well, what do you want? And Brad Chad says, I need to know what's going on. Like, I just witnessed something. It was pretty traumatic. And what's happening? What was that thing? And, of course, the detective's like, it's an ongoing investigation. I can't help you. And this goes on for a while, but basically the detectives aren't going to tell him anything. So he says something really pithy along the lines like, I thought you were meant to protect and serve, and all you're doing is putting me in danger and not serving me. And storms out. This time he does kick the door, but on his way out, it doesn't work. No, it's not. It's an outward opening door because in the States, legally, all exit doors on public buildings must open outwards. So it works. He kicks it out. That's why he didn't kick it on the way in. Goes out, gets in his car, and this time he realizes what he should have done the first time. He's been in this town a while. He knows stuff. He's seen stuff going on. And so he's got a little network of people, and one of those people is Jim Bob. Jim Bob, the hacker. So he drives to Jim Bob's place. And what does he discover when he gets there, Shannon?
So Jim Bob is hacking away. He's got his axe, a tree stump that he just, hits periodically. And he goes, and Brad Chad says to Jim Bob, hey, so this is my situation, and he describes everything, and that's 5 chapters long. It goes into more detail the second time around as it's explaining the events of the first 2 chapters.
And it also gives a full
technique.
synopsis of the previous book.
It does that, and then there's also like a glossary. Very detailed. All terms are defined.
And reference to some fan fiction that's also been written.
Yeah, then there's just like another magazine in there.
Yeah.
It's just unrelated.
Yep.
They've got some, upcoming DVDs.
Yeah.
So he's talking to Jim Bob, and he says, what should I do? And Jim Bob's like, have you tried going to the police station? It's like, Jimothy, mate, I've just done that. I've just told you that I've done that. And why are you asking that? He said, no. Hear me out. Why don't we try going to the police station a second time, right? And then Brad Chad says, well, because that would just make this story go around in circles, and it's kind of not interesting as a narrative piece to just go back to the place that we've just come from. And Jim Bob's like, no. Hear me out. Wink. I winked that time.
Okay.
And he goes, no, I've got an idea. He's like, all right, fine. So they get in the car and they put in the offspring and they drive to the police station again. Mm-hmm. And it's getting quite late now, and a different sergeant is on duty. And Jim Bob goes over to him and he says, hey, so this is my friend, Brad Chad, and he's been in earlier and he spoke with the other sergeant, and he wanted some information about what's going on with these, what we believe to be robot alien mutants. And the sergeant's like, well, I'm not going to talk about ongoing cases with just members of the public, so you'll need to file a request for information. And Jim Bob says, no, I don't think you understand. I'm actually a hacker. And he gets his axe and he holds it out to him. And he says, what's going on? Threateningly with the axe. It's not giving it. It's not a bribe, Dom. Don't think it's a bribe for 1 second. It's a menacing scenario. And so the sergeant was like, oh, okay. And I don't know why this police station has 2 sergeants. It's only a small country town, but it does. And so the sergeant starts to tell them a little bit about what's going on. There have been multiple instances of this happening. They have seen what they believe to be the same person or just multiple people that look quite similar. and they are taking people off the streets, and they are going down into the manholes. And once they're there, we have scoured the sewer network, and we can't find anything. And Jim Bob says, "Thank you very much," and he puts his axe away. And then something happens next. What happens, Dom?
So they walk out of the police station. They get in the car and they take Americana out and they put Ixnay on the Ombre in, which is another amazing Offspring album. And they drive like Rad Chad reverses out, does the big spin, drives like really aggressively over the road to the Popeye's chicken parking lot and screams to a halt and turns to Jimbo and goes, "What the heck was that, man?" Jimbob's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You literally threatened an American policeman with an axe in a police station and we're alive. What aren't you telling me?" And Jim Bob turns to him and goes, "Well, yeah, I guess I should come clean with you." And reaches under his chin and pulls his head off, pulls his face off. And
he
Jim Bob,
dies.
yeah, and Jim Bob is actually one of the moon aliens.
Oh, that's better than mine.
That Brad Chad fought and destroyed their communications network last time, and is able to control minds just to a little bit, not completely. Like, he couldn't just walk into the police station and go, "You have to tell me," but he could walk into the police station brandishing a freaking axe, and everyone was like, "Yeah, that's cool." And he explains, big bit of exposition about how the aliens that Rad Chad fought in the first one, there are actually different movements within the alien society. And while there was one that was all about sending tiny little mini robots down to Earth in the hopes that they would do something unidentified to take over, obviously, there was another group that was like, "Nah, man, Earth is cool. They've got axes and trees and the offspring and Popeyes," like, you know, and he just goes on about how much he just loves, well, American culture, because this is book set in America, so America is the entirety of the world. And he goes, "I just want to protect the Earth because I love it so much. And I, too, am concerned that either some of my species of the more militaristic side or some humans have worked out how to mutate and control our botlings," which is the cute little name he gives to the robots. And Rad Chad goes, "Duh, I get what you're saying." Hops out, goes into Popeyes, orders 2 bits and, 2 bits and gravy. And they sit down eating their Popeyes. And what does Rad Chad say to Jim Bob after this revelation?
Before he says that, what bits?
2 bits and gravy. 2 bits and gravy. I don't know if it's an actually thing. I had a friend here in the States who, we don't have Popeyes on the West Coast. Or I've never seen one, actually. Maybe there are some places. But I had a friend who was from the Midwest, and he was like, "Oh, Popeyes is the best, man. 2 bits and gravy," and which is apparently 2 pieces of chicken with mashed potato and gravy. It's amazing.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, it's chicken and potato and gravy.
Yep.
That feels fairly stock standard.
Yeah, apparently it's good. Or apparently.
But they do a good one at Popeyes.
Apparently.
And they're actually today's sponsor, so we'd like to...
So Popeyes, thank you for 2 bits and gravy. And also, thank you for ending my 13-year-old daughter at the time's pretentious vegetarianism. All it took was a Popeyes for her to eat meat again.
That's nice of them. And for saving olive oil from Pluto. Pluto? Pluto, with a B, not a P. Yeah. What was happening in our story?
They're sitting in Popeyes, eating 2 bits and gravy,
With an alien.
Rad Chad is going to ask Jim Bob, who put his face back on before he went into
that was kind
Popeyes. Yeah, well, and is going to maybe ask him something, or maybe not. It's up to you. They could sit in silence for a while. That'd be
I think
great.
they'll start with that.
Okay.
There's just a lot of sitting, waiting, just enjoying each other's company. You know, you don't always have to talk. Just
let's try it now.
I can't wait. To look at the data on this episode, to watch the spike of people turning off the podcast just because we were silent for 3 seconds.
No, I think if anyone can make it half an hour into our idiocy, like, I don't think 30 seconds of silence is going to stop it.
You'd be surprised.
Email us at amountofsoup@gmail.com to tell us which bit of idiocy it was that finally made you stop listening.
If you've stopped listening, write in.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Well, no one ever writes in, so no one stops listening.
No, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Cool. So after they sit there silently, then they decide, no, we need to go and find out who's doing this. Right? It could be, it's obviously one of the moonmen. So they're going to go down into the sewer network. They get back in the car. This time they put on Ignite.
I don't want to contradict you.
Yeah.
But in the exposition, it was discussed that it might be the moonmen or it might be a human.
The humans are also from the moon.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, my bad.
You studied religion. You know these things. Humans, moon.
Yeah. Why do you think their name is actually Humoon?
So they get in the car. They put in the Offspring's Ignite.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think, is that the one that has Self-Esteem? I think that's a good song.
I don't know. I reckon they've, over their 14 albums, got one album of songs I know.
That's one of the good ones. And then I like that it started with Americana, and it just thought, no, it's just Offspring.
Yeah.
It's not related to Americana at all. And so they drive to their nearest manhole cover, which Rad Brad Chad just knows where all of those are. And they jump down into the sewers, and Jim Bob is able to project a beam of light out of his chin, and that illuminates the sewers enough that they can wander through without stepping on any, rats or fecal matter or accidentally getting lost. And they do the old thing that you do in a maze, where you put your hand on the left wall, and then they walk through the entire sewer network of which part of America are we in, Dom?
We don't know. It's got Popeyes, so it's probably Midwest.
Right. So we're in the what's some of the big cities in the Midwest? What is Midwest?
Des Moines, Iowa.
All right. So they're in Des Moines. So they're going to go through the entire sewer network.
I hope I'm right. I don't actually know where the Midwest is. It's in the West, but it's in the middle bit.
Right.
It's not actually that West. I think it's more mid than West, but I don't know.
Is that like corn country? Is that?
Yeah, Iowa. Des Moines is Iowa. There's a Des Moines. I don't know.
And then it's Idaho's potatoes.
Yep.
These are the things I know about America.
Yep, that's about it.
That's
Chicago.
all. And there's Popeye.
Yeah, probably.
They mangle their pizzas in Chicago. I've heard that. What is that situation?
They're amazing.
It's like it's not a pizza though. It's a lasagna.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, I mean lasagna's good, but just stop calling it pizza, guys. There you go. Anyone listening? Do we have anyone listening from New York? They'll enjoy that moment. That was for you. So they go down into the sewer network. They do the whole hold on to the left-hand side. They go through the entire sewer network of Des Moines. And then ultimately, right when they're about to give up, after I think it's taken them about 3 months at this point, they find a small door just that shouldn't belong. It's just in the middle of like some sort of wall. And they jimmy it open.
Jimmy Bob.
And they Jimmy Bob it open. And then they go into that door and they see row after row after row of these mutant robot creatures. And then a voice calls out, loudly, suddenly, and it says something to them. Dom, what does it say?
Help me! Because these robots that are all hanging by hooks under their armpits are actually the people who have been abducted. And as they walk further, they see someone who's just begun the assimilation process, where basically they just inject them with space resin.
Mountain Dew.
It's very similar, actually. The chemical makeup is strikingly similar, and it's about as healthy for you. And this is what gives them superhuman strength and turns their bodies into a tree-like, very hardened substance. But the problem is it also does the same to your brain. Now, for some bizarre reason, they are injected, they are basically given like a drip underneath their big toenails. And so it starts at the bottom and it works their way up. And there's this guy who's about to be fully epoxied. And he's screaming, help me, I don't want this. I don't want to become one of these mutant robot epoxy victims. And they get there and they take him down off the hooks. And they try to save him. They pull out the drip. But it's too late. And he turns. And he becomes an evil mutant robot. And there's a sick battle. Because it turns out Jim Bob's pretty tough. But still, this guy's pretty much invulnerable. Now, of course, I mentioned earlier that Radbrad Chad had a gun rack in his truck. So he's, of course, armed. And this time he's bought a 303 hunting rifle. Much bigger caliber than the Makarov. Can do a heftier punch. And this takes chips out of the mutant robot. Like, they can be harmed with enough firepower. But basically, Radbrad Chad and Jim Bob have to fight a fighting withdrawal. And they end up running back through the hatch, closing the hatch behind them, and fleeing through the sewers back to his truck. Get in the truck, drive back to the bar. Lurleen's still working. 3 months later. It's not really 3 months later. But it's Lurleen's, and they come in, 2 more whiskeys. They sit at the bar, and Lurleen says, wow, you guys have really been up to something tonight. And what do they say to her?
Well, they're about to say something to her, but something strange starts happening because Radbrad Chad looks down at his whiskey glass and it's moving. It's just sliding across the bench. And he looks around it and he sees 2 little robotic pincers clipped onto the glass. A little robot crab just dragging that glass off of the counter. And he looks up and there's just coming in under the door. So these things are tiny, right? Just a swarm of robotic crabs just sliding into the bar. Scuttling, I should say. They don't slide.
Yeah.
They're not slidey animals. They're scuttly animals. And I apologize to the crab community for misrepresenting you. And so these crabs start to just take... They're initially taking things from the bar, but then they start collecting people. And what starts as a robot army just becomes a wave, and you can't even tell they're crabs anymore. It's just a wave of robotics that are just taking people and dragging them out screaming. Except they don't take Radbrad Chad and Jim Bob. Instead, once the entire place is clear, a man walks in. And he's a dark and mysterious figure, and there's cigarette smoke everywhere, and it's one of those type of scenarios. And his hat is, the brim of his hat is lowered down over his face, obscuring him. And he sits himself down, and he takes the whiskey that the crab had moved to the side, and he has a sip, and then he puts out his cigarette and he turns to Rad Brad Chad and he says, "What, Dom?"
He's got a deep southern drawl. He says, "You've been asking a lot of questions, Rad Brad Chad. You've been asking the wrong questions of the wrong people." And this is the mid-narrative scare-off. So this man, he doesn't say who he is, but he just tells Rad Brad Chad and Jim Bob that they are messing with things they don't understand. And if they know what's good for them, they're going to pack up and leave town and never come back. And then he drinks the whiskey, lights another cigarette, and leaves. As soon as he leaves, the crabs bring everyone back. But they've got amnesia. They don't remember anything. They just think it's a normal night. And Lurleen's like, "You look white as a sheet," again, which he said already tonight. And Rad Brad Chad and Jim Bob look at each other and they get out of town. It's a logical thing to do. If I was under the same situation, I would just leave. Nothing is worth it. But as they're leaving town, they get to the outskirts and it says, "You are now leaving Des Moines, Iowa. Have a nice day." Or words to that effect. And Rad Brad Chad pulls over and he's like, "I can't do it. I love Des Moines. I love the people of Des Moines. I can't let a bunch of crabby aliens take over and turn everyone into resin mutant monsters."
Is that a Des Moines accent you're doing?
I don't know.
It felt a bit Jersey.
I am famous for how bad my American accents are. And he spins the wheels, turns the car around, drives back into town. And where's he heading, Shannon?
He forgot his hat.
Oh, cool. Yeah, makes sense.
So he goes back to his house and he gets his hat, couple of cigarettes. He had a pack that he hadn't finished, and his boots. He wanted his boots, and it's just some keepsakes and like some family photos and bits and pieces. And then they do leave.
Oh.
Yeah. They're not stupid. And that's the book. It's done.
Unexpected.
Yeah. I mean, would you? They can't fight like swarms of robots.
They can't, but you know who can?
Jesus?
The police.
Ah, the police. Right.
Yeah. So Sting comes in.
The wrestler.
No, the musician.
Who is also a wrestler.
With his band, the police.
The NWO.
And they play a concert.
Yeah.
And the concert draws the crab aliens out because there's something about the music of Sting and the way that he manages to imbibe it with tantric magic. And it short circuits a lot of the crabs. With the alien invaders weakened by Sting and the police, Jim Bob and Rad Brad Chad go to the regular police, the Des Moines Police Department, and say, "They're weakened, and we know where their headquarters are. What are you going to do about it?" And what are they going to do about it, Shannon?
They're just like, "We're on it.
Oh, cool.
We're on it. Can you just mind your own business? This has nothing to do with you. Well, the police have got this." That's it.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yep.
So then Rad Brad Chad goes back to the bar. Remember in the first chapter how he looked at Lurleen and reminisced about his long-lost love?
No.
He did. And so he goes back and he asks Lurleen to marry him.
That's nice.
And she says yes. And they lived happily ever after. The end.
Okay. I mean, I feel like the story kind of went a couple chapters long. It's it's very much to go back to Tolkien. Now, it works really well in the book because you've got the scouring of the Shire and all that. But when you're watching the movie of Return of the King and you're in the cinema and you've just had like a large mountain of soft drink, soda, and popcorn, and you just need to go to the toilet. It's like, if the movie's ended, why has this got another 3 endings? I feel like that may be a problem with this story.
Okay. And also, there wasn't enough Tom Bombadil in our story.
Yeah, well, that was implied.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I actually thought that Jim Bob, Tom Bombadil.
Jim
Bombadil.
Bombadil.
Yeah, it was that.
That makes sense.
Well, do we have a outline to know how close we got?
So the blurb we've got: a modern Western horror in the lame cyberpunk present. After destroying the cult of the White Salamander 2 years ago, Mark Nero, Rad Brad Chad, stumbles into trouble once again. Something is kidnapping people, and Mark is determined to figure out why. But when
100% so far.
Yeah. When a federal agent arrives at his door, things get complicated. Yeah, pretty much. He went to the police and ours, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Mark must atone for his mistakes and make far worse ones.
By
Dear
marrying
reader,
Lurleen. Is that atonement or a far worse mistake? You decide.
Though this is a sequel, it is tonally different. It serves as its own work. If you're curious about the Americana cycle, start here and work backwards, or start at part 1 and come here. But just know this is a thing, and it probably means something. Excellent.
Yeah.
Look, that feels vague enough that we could have got some stuff right.
Totally. And I've got to say that even if he didn't write it exactly like we just described, I really am curious to read it.
Yeah, and I was just having a look. So for you, Dom, and for any others, I'm currently seeing it listed at $4 on Amazon for the Kindle edition. So nice cheap read, and it is a really interesting tone and dynamic to this one. So get on that and have a look.
Wow. I put White Salamander into Amazon, and it auto-corrected it to White Sandals for Women.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just bought my wife some sandals.
Well, that's very sweet of you. You're a good man.
So the first book of the White Salamander cycle is The Curse of the White Salamander. Book 1 of 2.
But apparently you shouldn't start at that one. You should start with the second one, according to
Unless you want to.
Unless you do what you want.
I always do.
Yeah, that's good.
Shadow of the White Salamander. Yep, I'm going to buy it. Cool.
There you go.
Yeah, look at me, buying novels.
All right, so JP Clark, our podcast got you at least one sale, so, thanks us.
I wonder if he's near me. It says he lives in the edge of the high desert where the sage meets the pine, and that's quite a good description of where I live. JP.
There he is now.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, he just jumped over my fence. JP, I live in Bend, Oregon. If you live nearby, let's catch up and have a whiskey and a cigarette.
Speaking of, soup ratings for this one, I just thought whiskey and cigarette. That's a type of soup, right?
Yeah.
Tennessee whiskey.
I said, well, I actually think a whiskey with a cigarette put out in the whiskey and then you drink it.
Yeah, okay.
I call that a Tennessee soup. That's the new name for it.
Delicious.
Yeah. Or
so on that note, should we wrap things up? That's a
cigarette
lasagna.
Put out in a pizza.
It's not a pizza. We've been over this. It's a lasagna.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I feel like maybe we didn't do the book justice.
No, probably not. But that's the charm of what we do.
Yeah. I hope you give it a shot if you're one of our listeners, and give JP a chance. Give JP a chance.
Aww.
This is a cracker novel. Yeah, just the first chapter. Like, it was impressively, intriguingly written.
And if you're not interested in it, get on YouTube and find old episodes of AWA and see what Ben Gagne's up to.
Or listen to the Smashing Pumpkins, because apparently they own wrestling now.
Yeah, well, just Billy.
Just Billy. Yeah,
Just
that
Billy.
is unexpected.
Yeah. Well, it's not, but that's a whole other.
Okay, yeah, I don't...
Yeah, I'm not going to start that. We're almost an hour in. I'm not going to start on the whole TNA thing. Just know that it's a thing.
It's a thing. All right. Wrestling is a thing. Shannon, you're a thing. Our podcast is a thing. And on that note, it's good night from me.